the thing that I wanted to discuss is I don't know if you guys have watched the Oscars.
I did.
Did you get a
I
hint of the
watched a decent
Oscars at
amount of
all?
them.
Okay. I wanted to bring this up because I was on a weird wavelength or like brain pattern, something of a connection because I was thinking about this before this event happened. And I will play this clip from the Oscars for you guys. And
Uh,
then I'm going to go into something, I'm going to go into a tangent about this topic. And maybe you guys can help me formulate this thought process in my head, okay? So
this is
without
about your growth and how we watched Dogtooth a couple years ago.
no, well, it has to do with the movie.
No.
No.
But before we start, I just want to say thanks everybody for watching. And if you want to see more of these types of videos, let us know in the comments. This is definitely just a tangent that I want to go on, and I hope you can enjoy this and come on along this ride with my Broichy boys here.
Tangentialize, my dude.
Okay, so before I get you guys into this, this is, and Bracho, if you remember this clip, don't spoil it for Wilson. Wilson, if you caught this clip, you'll be, it'll be fun for you to revisit it. But this is a clip from when John Mulaney presented the voice or speeches or something, right? Sound, or I don't know what it was, but he'll talk about it real quick here. All right, let me know when you guys are in the stream.
I'm in.
I'm present for Jonathan Mulaney.
Okay, here we go.
For achievement in sound. You know, for years, movies didn't have sound, and then they figured it out. Some people say that the silent era was the golden era of film. These people are difficult and insane. Without sound, we wouldn't have been able to hear such classic lines as, "You're gonna need a bigger boat. I'll have what she's having." And he was in the Amazon with my mother when she was researching spiders just before she died. Or what about that moment in Field of Dreams when we hear, "If you build it, he will come." And then Costner does it. He builds a baseball field. Well, I guess he doesn't build it. He mows down corn, and then there is a field. And then he's like, "I'm going to watch Ghost play baseball." And the bank is like, "You want to pay your mortgage?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm going to watch Ghost play baseball." And then he finds James Earl Jones, who wrote The Boat Rocker, which I thought was a real book deep into my 20s. And he's like, "People will come, Ray. He's the only one with a financial plan." But what's weird is Timothy Busfield pushes little Gabby Hoffman off the bleachers, and she falls down, and she's unconscious. Then Burt Lancaster is Moonlight Graham, and he comes up and he pats her on the back a couple times, and he's like, "Hot dog stuck in the throat." And then he can't go back in the game. Because I guess there's a rule in Ghost Baseball that if you leave the field at any point to become an elderly ghost and do the Heimlich maneuver, you can't return to the field. I love Field of Dreams. That should win Best Picture. Though they'll probably go with one of this year's. Here are the nominees.
Okay. So I was on a brain pattern or wavelength with him when he's talking about Field of Dreams, okay? And
Yeah.
I don't know if I've talked to you guys or just this has just been something that I don't know what crossed my mind, but I was like, what is the genre of movie Field of Dreams is? Right? What is this movie? Is it a baseball movie? Not really. Is it sci-fi? Maybe a little. Is it like religious because there's connotations of it being like heaven, but that's not specifically said in the film. So I was watching through the film and I thought it would fit perfectly as, if you look at it through a different lens, it's the perfect
Horror movie?
It's a perfect idea for a cosmic horror film. And it hits a lot of tropes that cosmic horror has. And I'll tell you like the synopsis, or I'll briefly go over some of the tropes of cosmic horror, and maybe you guys can help me too if you're well versed in like Cthulhu mythos or just, you know, sacred geometry and things like that are a part of, you know, Cthulhu or just cosmic horror in general. But here are some things that I've connected with Field of Dreams and cosmic horror. First off, the main character Ray for no reason at all, he wakes up from a nightmare of some kind. Already, it's like, okay, perfect. Dream states and nightmares are definitely a correlation with cosmic horror. Characters are invaded in their dreams of some kind of entity telling them to do something or being possessed. And he has to be told by this entity, this voice, saying, if you build it, right? He just keeps hearing it. If you build it, he will come. And so he's like, what? So he doesn't understand the message, but he's compelled to basically plow a portion of his cornfield to build a baseball diamond. He comes up with the baseball diamond because through these weird sets of connections and things like that, he just decides a diamond. And you can rewatch the movie and everything like that, but that also got me into, okay, sacred geometry and diamonds being multifaceted and all these things, and other sport fields and pitches and things like that are rectangles or ovals or squares or whatever. Baseball's the only one that's played on a diamond, and it's a very strange looking shape that you play baseball. And so I was like, okay, that's also very weird. And so he does this, but then he's encountered by these ghosts of dead baseball players from history, and they don't know where they are. They know who they are. They just don't know where they are. They just show up in a field someday. So is this field that he makes a portal to another dimension where it allows entities to manifest as these ghosts of dead baseball players? Or is this a heaven? So you're like wondering, like, okay, why are these all dead baseball players that weren't alive during the same time, but they're all showing up on this field to play baseball? And throughout the movie, there's differences of like time, where Ray and James Earl Jones' character, who John Mulaney was talking about, the guy that wrote The Boat Rocker, he's just an author. He had no connection to baseball really. But when they're driving on this road trip, they stumble across a young version of Moonlight Graham. And he looks like he's straight out of the 50s or something like that. Like he's wearing a little baseball cap, and he's got his bat and his baseball mitt attached to the butt of the bat. And he's just like walking, like hitchhiking. And then they pick him up. So even driving in rural America, there's a dilation of time where they slipped into the past just to pick him up as a hitchhiker and then brought him to the field in Iowa. So there's something, I don't know if it's malevolent or benevolent or just some kind of entity that's forcing itself through Ray to create a portal to another universe or to some kind of dimension.
Right.
And which is really weird towards the end, after Moonlight Graham does the Heimlich, or pats Karen on the back and gets the hot dog out of her throat.
Yeah.
The author, James Earl Jones, he's alive. He's not one of these dead baseball players, but he gets to go into the portal through the cornfield where the baseball players disappear when they're done playing baseball. So why is it that James Earl Jones, who is alive, he's not dead, everybody else can see him and talk to him, he gets to go to this portal, and then Ray kind of says something like, I want a full detailed report when you get back, or like something like, so he's inevitably going to come back from this field and relay all this information to Ray that he was in this weird dimension with these baseball ghosts, right?
Yeah. Weird dimensional baseball ghosts.
Weird dimensional baseball ghosts, and I think that's the only genre to me that really fits, because it's definitely a disembodied voice forcing its will onto this guy and making him believe things, and then people around the town call him crazy, but he still sticks with it, and at the detriment to his financial standing with the bank, and he plows a ton of his crop, so he's not making money off of it. But the main purpose of it was to get Ray to play catch with his deceased dad.
Yep.
And that was kind of the whole thing. It was like about redemption to like not spending time with your dad, and has all these other meanings to it.
Right.
But the purpose of it, like, why initially did the disembodied voice say, if you build it, he will come?
Right. What
Just-
stake did that voice have in
why did it?
him playing catch with his dad?
Yeah, is this spirit that manifests as his dad just there to be like, thanks
Yeah.
for opening the portal to this other dimension. Now we can allow more spirits
There's supposed to be some,
to come
yeah,
through,
some-
and now we can invade and tell other people to build other things that allow them to see other dead relatives. So it
Right.
just turns the whole culture kind of crazy. Like,
Well, what about the next person, or the fucking like 76th person down the line who hears a message and they hear the same thing, like, if you build it, he will come. But they're talking about if you build the fucking ziggurat made of the bodies of the slaves
Yeah.
that you, take under
Yeah.
your wing, the unending Lord will be the he who will come.
yeah.
I've
and
never,
he'll
I've never
look
seen
at
Field of
Trump, dude.
Dreams, but that sounds like the kind of thing that James Earl Jones would be into.
Think about it too, though. It's like you coming back, whether it's through like a time rift, or if it's like from an afterlife or whatever. If it's from an afterlife, and they're coming back and they walk, they're just like, hold up, like I can't see I can't see my family. I just have to like hang out here, play baseball. That's it.
well, that's the thing. At the end of the
Is
movie,
it
I don't
like
know
a purgatory?
if you
Is it like a
remember the
purgatory
end
that
of
they
the
can never go
film.
to? Yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And James Earl Jones' character was basically saying, like, people will come, Ray. Like John
Yeah.
Mulaney said, like, people will come. And at the end of the movie, there's a big pan out of the field. After
Yeah.
James Earl Jones goes into the field, you just see car headlights, like, going down this rural road to where the Kinsella farm is. So was the main purpose, like, why do all these people know about this field, for one? They must have been invaded through their dreams. So, like, you need to go. It's like being propelled by the,
Yeah.
this is important. This means something. Richard
Exactly.
Dreyfuss in Third Kind. He's like, I need to
Because-
do this.
Because I haven't seen it, can you just like, let's just really quick like walk through that, how it plays out in the movie. So you're saying James Earl Jones goes into the portal. That's all good and well.
That's at
And
the
then-
end.
That's at the end.
Yeah. Yep. And then we like cut to, you said like a long distance view of the field.
Yeah,
and
like
then
a helicopter
pulling away
shot.
From it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like helicopter shot. Like, and then as we move away from it, we see a road going to the field and just rows of headlights. You said like
Yep.
going that way.
Yep, towards the field. And we're supposed
So
to believe that
after
all
that-
these people were.
Yeah, it sounds like it does sound like some friggin' eldritch horror,
Is there like,
elder god that
Possessed them to come
That
to this
was like-
field.
yeah,
is that
like
literally
to-
the last shot of the movie, or
It
is
is.
there like
It is.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
there's a few things, like it's all, the resolution of the film already happened where Ray got to play baseball or play catch with his dad.
Mhm.
And then
So-
that
so
was
all
like the
those
big
people-
thing.
all those people can come there, and then the elder god will rise out of the field, and just like some horrifying ritual will happen, and everybody dies, and then it's
he's gonna reap their souls?
yep. That's what the whole thing is. He's like, we'll make it seem benign. You're just building the baseball field, and then everyone's gonna come because of the baseball field or whatever. But
Right.
really, what it is you're pouring the sacred geometry on there. You're clearing the way so I can amplify my message out to everybody to lure them here, so then I can rise from my slumber.
And he needs probably that many people of like
Mhm.
their souls or their body or something to be like,
Yep.
all right, I've harvested. As you harvest this corn, I harvest these people to manifest into your realm, and now
Well,
I'm
that
going to
He's
take
the
over.
harvester.
That makes James Earl Jones's character a bit more sinister in that light, because it's like
Mhm.
Mhm.
he's an author, so who's to say that he's not like been writing manifestos or like coming he's
He's been
In-
a secret
Patsy, he's like a
de-
He's a fall guy,
devout
yeah.
or cultist, or like
And-
somebody who's like he's
and
definitely
him
on
going
that, like,
into the
train.
portal is his reward for kickstarting
Mhm.
the mind brainwashing, whatever manipulation. Yeah.
Thank you for helping me like put other pieces like that together,
I
because
think,
that
well,
really
honest-
helps too.
No, I'm being serious here. I love this. I love thinking
No,
about movies like this.
that's
and
kind
I
of
think
what I wanted too, because like even the idea of like the last shot didn't come to me until we started discussing it. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then
well, that makes it seem like the movie, in earnest, what I think is trying to communicate from just based on what you're telling me, is that like other people are now aware of this location where they
Yep.
can come and like summon
Watch
up
some baseball.
their dead relatives
Yeah.
and like have their connecting moment, or like some sort of resolution
Yep.
with a person that they've lost or something like that.
There's definitely nefarious things that can be nefarious behind it.
Either that or
And
like
it's all
people
this
just wanna,
eldritch
come
being.
watch a fucking baseball game with ghosts. I don't fucking know.
yeah,
It's all this
Somehow
eldritch
everybody
being
knows,
that's
clearly.
manipulating this man through his emotions to do this baseball diamond, so he
dark
can
ritual.
lure all these people there.
I
Yep.
kind of like to
So he
think
could
of it as
initiate
like
his dark ritual and rise from his slumber from
can we
deep in the
add
earth.
like a sci-fi element to it, where like Kevin Costner is
Yep.
the person who like sends the message back through time or something to himself to say like, if you build it, they will come.
I mean, it's
So it's like
Eldritch horror already kind of got a little bit of a sci-fi element to it too, where a lot of the elder gods are just like alien creatures or aliens from other dimensions or whatever.
Yeah, and
tight.
they're usually through dreams that they manifest
Yeah.
and tell people what to do. That's why he like wakes up from like a fever
They
dream
feed on-
saying like, huh, huh.
Yeah, they feed on fear. Like, one of the biggest things in cosmic horror is just the fear of the unknown. And yeah, there's a lot of that in there.
Well, here's the thing. There's another scene, and this can help bring that issue into play. Is that this small town is into book burning, and they do not like James Earl Jones's like writing from history, because he wrote The Boat Rocker, and that had a lot of like civil rights and like all these things that could cause people to be in an uproar or in fear. And they're so scared of the stuff that this guy's writing that they're like, we should burn this book. But Ray's wife, Annie, does this huge spiel about like he's like a loving man, and he like maybe I'm not saying like this is part of the movie, because I do love James Earl Jones, but if we frame him in that kind of character, that he is brainwashing like Annie's type of character through his writing, that she read it and everything like that, everybody's like in fear of it, and rightly so, because he at the end, like we said, he gets to go into the cornfield. Everybody else gets to live in the fear.
He goes into the fucking
He drives all those people to like a zealotry that kind of leaves them open to be manipulated by the elder god too.
The way you're describing it, Tyler, she seems like she's like a Mia to like a Dracula kind of thing, where she's like a thrall to maybe not James Earl Jones himself, but like whatever force is helping to facilitate like this message being sent to Kevin Costner and these ghosts appearing, etc., etc.
Yeah, definitely. I just like how the gateway also to different dimensions beyond human comprehension. Like you can't.
Well, and I like the idea
understand
of the diamond being like the sacred geometry that is the key to the portal, opening the portal.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean, or being able to
like this location
to
in
open
Iowa.
the communication further between the elder god and our plane.
And the harbinger is Ray Liotta's character, Shoeless Joe Jackson. And Shoeless, Ray Liotta shows up, and he plays Shoeless Joe, and he's telling him like, or he asks him straight up after he leaves, and he like Ray pitches for him, and Shoeless Joe just bombs him into the field, right? He's like, he just goes, "Is this heaven?" And then Ray, without like hesitation, goes, "Nah, this is Iowa."
No,
it's Iowa. So it's like, okay, why Iowa? Maybe it's localized for more people to come from both ends. I don't know, like because it's kind of Midwest, like it's part of the
central-ish.
Yeah, central, like Minnesota, Iowa, right underneath.
Yeah.
So it's bringing everybody from both coasts together.
All sides of the country. Yep. North, south, east, west.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and baseball being the American pastime and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of connections that.
Well, maybe there's something to be, because here's a question that I have is there ever any um this is like a two part or like a multiple part question kind of thing. What did they ever talk about like why there is estrangement between Kevin Costner and his dad, or like how did his dad die, or like what were the circumstances of that relationship?
They do talk about it. Yep. There's like he never got a chance to see him in his prime. That was another thing. Like he just saw, I think he saw his dad on his deathbed or something like that, and he never got to he never got to have that catch or whatever with him, and that was like some part of him that was absent, and he just couldn't. I don't know. He maybe it led him into this state, but he's not the only one that received messages throughout the film. Like Annie was invaded through a dream, and it's not until like he's like saying to his wife, like, I've had this strange dream, and I don't know how to explain it, but I have to go meet with I forgot, James Earl Jones's name from the movie.
James Earl Jones.
I think his name was Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann. Okay. James Earl Jones.
T-Man.
Yeah, T-Man, Terrence Mann. So he's like, I had this dream that I have to go to this baseball game with Terrence Mann. And then Annie was kind of like, it was late at night, and she goes, were you sitting in such and such spot? And he's like, yeah. And was the game like they both had the same nightmare or the same dream about him going to this baseball game with Terrence Mann. And then she was like full on board, like, all right, I'll help you pack. And she was swept up into this nightmare too. And then even when they're at the game, he's sitting there with Terrence Mann. He does a lot of stuff to get Terrence Mann to the game. Like he like alds him up at gunpoint with like a fake gun in his pocket. He's like, you're coming with me. He's like, are you crazy? And he comes at him with like a crowbar. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't have a gun. So like there's some hijinks that happens, but they eventually go to the game, and during the 7th inning stretch or something like that, he looks at the scoreboard, and the ticker that goes by says like ease his suffering or something like that.
Right.
And then he's like, did you see that? Like Ray says to Terrence, like, did you see that? He's like, see what? And then he's like, never mind, let's go. And then before the game's over, he just brings Terrence Mann home. Kevin Costner drops him off, and then Terrence Mann goes, so what was the message? He's like, he said the old man has done enough, or something, just to like appease this idea.
Yeah.
And so as he's leaving, Terrence Mann, he does a little U-turn to go back on this one-way street, and then the headlights pop up on Terrence Mann, and then he goes, Moonlight Graham, or something like that. And then he's like, you saw it! He saw the same message as him, because without prompting, even Terrence Mann has been receiving messages and things like that. And he's like, who's Moonlight Graham? And then they find that it's this old doctor that, used to play baseball and could have been a great baseball player if he didn't go to, into the medical field and things like that.
Doctor school.
And that's another thing. Doctors are very prominent in cosmic horror that have all the answers to things. Sure. And it's kind of weird that they allow, like John Mulaney says, to bring us back to John Mulaney, he says, I guess there are rules in ghost baseball that once you leave the field, you become an elderly ghost, because he had already died, for one. So they met him at different points in his life. He's like, I better get home, or you should just watch it, because it's very strange.
You lose your ability to be a youthful-looking ghost. You
use that ability, but also once he's done helping Karen stop choking on the hot dog, he leaves into the field. He's
right.
Like, so long, fellas. And Shoeless Joe says, hey, kid, you were good. And then the guy gets to leave into the field. So there's some kind of thing that the spirit might be saying like, if you leave my sacred geometry, you lose all this power that I'm giving you to be youthful or whatever, and to be part of my ceremony or something like that. Because then he just leaves, like he's just gone, and we don't know what existence he goes to next. He's just in the portal and he's gone. And we're supposed to believe that, and this is everybody's assumption, is that okay, they're just going into an afterlife or into a heaven, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed to read into. But I mean, there's nothing that they say in the film that's explicitly that, so you can read into it in whatever fashion you want, really. And how we're doing it now, there's a lot of evidence that it could be elder gods and cosmic entities.
Part of me, especially having not seen the movie, part of me, like, obviously it plays out how it does, whatever, but like part of me wishes that the movie was like, Kevin Costner was one of the few, if not like the only person who ever saw the ghosts, the baseball ghosts, so that it was like his psychosis and he's trying to get other people to believe like that this is happening, or that like he seems extra crazy to everybody because he's, you know, destroying his like livelihood by like mowing down his crops and creating this baseball diamond and stuff. And he's like, no, trust me, there's voice told me if I build it, they'll come, and nobody believes him. And or I mean, I do like the idea that like other
the boy
people
who cried
like,
baseball.
Maybe I like the idea that you were like the diamond with the sacred geometry being like a place of power, where like these ghosts, I like the idea of these ghosts being like, they are only appearing because Kevin Costner wants to play catch with his dad. So he's like creating, these are not the true like spirits of these baseball players.
They're like manifesting.
Yeah, he's like creating constructs almost, or like his own idealized versions of these people.
Yeah.
Which is why you're able to see them throughout like different periods of their life and different baseball players from different periods of time, because he's like building his you know, fucking like dream team that he would want to play. Like, look, Dad, you get to play with those guys, I got to play with these guys.
Yeah, right.
Or the town, like, because this like place of power on this ley line has been built. Now the town is at risk to suffer a psychosis, where they like at the end of the movie, clearly they're other people have had these dreams or are somehow now like called to this location.
The power
to what end?
Power
Who
of
knows?
release, thanks to the sacred geometry. I gotta pee. Keep talking.
Okay, so I'm just going to end with this. I asked our friend ChatGPT to basically, I said, what is the plot of Field of Dreams? And it hashed that out, and I said, okay, now reimagine that as a cosmic horror film. And it did so. So I'm just going to read that, and we'll end with that.
Nice. I like this idea.
So, in a cosmic horror adaptation of Field of Dreams, the plot follows Ray Kinsella, a troubled Iowa farmer plagued by unsettling visions and whispers from the void. Tormented by a mysterious voice compelling him to build it, Ray's descent into madness begins as he becomes increasingly obsessed with the cryptic message. Driven by an insatiable urge, Ray plows a portion of his cornfield, construct a foreboding baseball diamond, unaware of the eldritch forces he's awakening. As he labors under the oppressive weight of his compulsion, spectral apparitions of legendary baseball figures materialize on the field, their forms twisted and distorted by the incomprehensible energies that bind them. So that's a very cool like concept. To me, it's like these warped versions of baseball players.
Well, read the it said something about like a foreboding baseball diamond.
Yeah, that too.
You stand outside of it, you look at it, you're like, oh shit, that third base is spooky.
Oh my gosh, that mound. That mound is moundy.
Spooky ass mound, dude.
What have they done with the dugouts? Oh my goodness.
Ray's wife Annie and their daughter Karen become unwitting witnesses to his unraveling sanity as they watch in horror as he succumbs to the whispers of the abyss. Desperate to understand the source of Ray's torment, Annie delves into forbidden text and dark witch rules, only to uncover the terrifying truth. The field serves as a gateway to dimensions beyond human comprehension, where ancient entities manipulate mortal minds for their inscrutable purposes. As Ray's obsession deepens, he encounters beings from the realm beyond mortal ken, entities that mock the frailty of human existence and reveal the chaos they sow. The line between reality and nightmares blurs. In a final harrowing confrontation, Ray must confront the darkness within himself and the cosmic horrors that lurk beyond the veil of reality. His journey culminates in a cheering revelation. The true purpose of the field is not redemption, but sacrifice, a ritual offering to appease the ancient gods that dwell in the void. Field of Dreams. Yeah, like calling it Field of Dreams also, like even the title is foreboding. Like that just, that's very strange. It could just be called Field of Nightmares too. And like, because that's what it is. Field of Dreams transforms into a chilling tale of cosmic terror where the boundaries of sanity are shattered and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance as mortals confront the incomprehensible horrors that lie just beyond the edge of perception. So there you have it.
Wow.
That was good. And
it reads kind of like a H.P. Lovecraft, and I get totally tongue-tied with a lot of his big words put together in a stream like that. So, yeah, it's weird, and I thought I would share that with everybody and the masses after seeing the Oscars. Maybe you guys just got a kick out of him breaking down the film. And honestly, it's hilarious because he goes into ghost baseball rules and like finds that that's really weird. And he even says, I think that should win Best Picture. And I agree, because I've seen the film maybe once every summer because I get into a baseball kick in the summer and I watch baseball films and things like that. And Field of Dreams is technically a baseball film in a weird way. Like, but it is. It has a lot to do with baseball. But the concept is very, very scary and spooky.
Legendary players come play. Yeah, it is. It's cool.
So
anytime you get spirits of the dead involved, you know.
Yeah, Beyond the Veil. Yeah, things like that. It's just
a little dicey.
It gets
it's a little sus.
Very sus. So thank you guys for going down this crazy dive into insanity with me. And maybe you guys have other ideas. Maybe you want us to talk about another film that has kind of a nefarious connotation to it that maybe is brought to you in kind of a lighthearted framework as, you know, like a Field of Dreams is. Let us know in the comments. We'll definitely listen to you and things like that. It definitely helps us to like this video so other people can maybe witness my insanity.
It's just like how we exposed Speed Racer as a movie about Jesus.
Yeah,
right?
it's an analogy for the Passion of the Christ.
Fundamentalism.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's a lot
Organized
to do with
religion.
The Wachowskis just do that anyway. It's like everything's an allegory for this.
Right.
So yeah, just want to say again, thanks for watching this, and we'll be back with more crazy cosmic horror adaptations in the future, hopefully. Goodbye.
Look forward to it. Goodbye.